What's going on, guys? Welcome back. You're gonna have to bear with me here because I don't have my normal gear for filming. I'm trying to use this little suction cup mount because I'm at home changing scenery for this video. I need to start preparing for drag week. Drag week is about a month and a week away, September 14th. It starts pretty kind of local to us, and I am taking the Lexus this year. The one thing that is driving me absolutely up a wall with this car is ever since I put this whole setup together, I cannot get this oil leak sorted out. It's very confusing to me because I've got about 4,000 miles on this oil. And if I pull the dipstick out right now, it's still gonna be completely full. So it's not losing a lot of oil, but the little bit of oil that it is losing is making an absolutely huge mess underneath the car. I think part of the problem that is going on with this car, it's a small oil leak, but the main problem is that I have a GTE, so a turbo engine's oil pump on a GE without oil squirters or any of the extra turbo stuff that the factory turbo motors got. And because of that, this thing makes a lot of oil pressure. When I fire it up cold with 1030 oil in the car, it'll idle around 100 PSI. And then when the car's fully warmed up, it'll come down to about 35, 40 at idle. But as soon as the car is over 3,000 RPM, it's pretty much at 120 PSI all the time, probably on the relief spring, which probably also isn't good. The reason why I have a GTE oil pump in this car is because I kind of explained it in another video, I needed a place to put the crank position sensor on this engine since I'm running the Holly and a 36 tooth trigger wheel. That goes, if we can see it, right down in the side of the oil pump down there. When the car was leaking oil originally after I put it together, I assumed that it was the oil pressure sensor because the factory blocks in these cars are tapped 1/8 BSPT, not 1/8 NPT. And I had an 1/8 inch NPT sensor in that hole. I have since replaced the sensor with an adapter to a BPST, and it's still leaking just as bad. But let me throw the car up and give you an idea of what we got going on. I have a ton of oil on my sway bar, the whole bottom of the oil pan, steering rack. I mean, pretty much everything under the car is completely coated in oil. You know, the whole front of the transmission, back of the oil pan, up here on the rail. I have the exhaust pulled out already, but I mean, you can see it pretty much goes all the way back. Everything back here has basically just been getting peppered with oil since the car has been back together. Now, if I completely wipe everything under here, clean all these surfaces, I can run the car and drive it normally, and I won't have any oil underneath of the car. But the second that I do a wide open throttle pull to like 7,500 RPM, everything's covered in oil. So the main reason why I'm worried about that is if I take this thing drag racing and whatever small leak turns into a big leak and I get oil under the tires, not only do I not want to wreck the car, but I don't want to ruin the event for everybody else. I was going to pull the engine out of the car to fix this because I have to get to the oil pump. I'm pretty sure it might be the oil pump O-ring on the back side of it. Brian actually stopped over tonight and we talked about it. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to put a load bar across my strut towers, hold the block in the car, and I'm going to drop these subframes down out of here. So should be relatively simple. I'm going to mark all of my alignment bolts, which I already know I'm going to have to get another alignment. And this car actually has two main subframes. We have this aluminum one up here, just held in by, I think, 4 main bolts into the subframe there. We have the engine mount bolt. And then we have this rear steel subframe that also will have to come out because I need to get access to the rear of the oil pan. And again, the main reason I'm doing this, I figured this is going to be a lot easier than completely taking the entire turbo kit off the car, the fuel system, the intake manifold, the wiring harness, basically everything out of the car to try to fix this leak. So I actually just ran the Harbor Freight in the Suburban and picked up what I need to hold the engine in. Shouldn't be too bad though. I did just have all this stuff apart when I put these beautiful IDS coilovers in here. I do only have a month and a week. I would like to have this kind of buttoned up this week because there is a lot of other things that I need to get to on this car before drag week. I am going to get this load bar out of the truck and get it set up. It does need to be put together, which is a little frustrating.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away.
morning, boys and girls. So it is a new day. Before I head into work, I'm gonna knock out a little bit more on the Lexus. I did get that Harbor Freight load bar up there holding up the motor. The next thing I want to do is I'm gonna start knocking some of the suspension stuff apart so I can take the subframe out of it. I'm probably just gonna leave the upper control arm, spindle brakes, all that stuff in. We're just gonna knock these inside lower control arm mounts out. Hopefully they just fall out and then I can get these guys out of here. I'm gonna probably pull the steel one out first since it's in the back. Car won't fall apart without it in there. All right, quick update. I pretty much have everything off except for the steering stuff to get this front cross member out. I did get the rear one out. That one was pretty straightforward. It really didn't have much going on. This front one, on the other hand, so I have the upper and lower control arms undone. Pretty much everything that's bolted to it is undone except for the tie rod ends. I am gonna leave the steering rack on here because my plan is to get this whole thing out in one piece and take it to work, pressure wash everything off. I think this thing's had an inner or outer tie rod worn for a little bit because it does get a little wobble in it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replace all that stuff while it's out. What a mess. All this for a little oil leak.
It hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
We got the subframes out. I gotta say, pretty sketched out by this. I've never actually had one of these cars taken apart in this fashion before. You can see, without those subframes in the way, we have full access to the oil pan. Ignore this line here. This is actually a coolant line that typically goes on top of the subframe to go up to the turbo because it's a water-cooled turbo. Got all the room in the world now to drop that pan off. I'm going to lower the car back down now. I want to check my load bar, make sure the chains are nice and secure because the last thing I want is this thing falling 15 feet off the lift. Had to bring my Milwaukee impact home because I got this earthquake piece of shit from Harbor Freight and it didn't even think about taking my crank pulley bolt out. So hopefully my Milwaukee fits in there without pulling the AC stuff apart, and I know that we'll take it out. Just kind of sad. Well, load bar's checking out. Both chains are nice and tight. I guess we are ready to start pulling into the front of this motor. I did notice, I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, but there was a good amount of oil inside of here too. Hoping that's gonna be just that front crankshaft seal on the front of the oil pump. I did wind up picking up a brand new GT oil pump and front seal and the O-rings that seal them to the block, which I did not replace before, just as like a good safety measure in case I like get in here and something's wrong with the pump or it's cracked or something like that. You know, I just didn't want to roll the dice on not having the parts. Plus I have another 2JZ project coming up that is going to need an oil pump either way. So regardless if this one's still good or not, I will have a spare, and I cannot wait for you guys to see that. Let me try to knock this balancer off here now that I know it does move a little bit side to side. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just really worried about hopefully this intercooler pipe here, you know, when these chains break, when I'm at work today and come home, that intercooler pipe will catch the motor from falling. All right guys, just a quick update. Now that I got it up on the lift, the new oil pan installed, and I think I figured out exactly what happened and why it was leaking oil before. This oil pump has two main ports over here that go into the block and run down through the main galleys, and there are O-rings on them. Well, the O-rings that were on here, which are right here, were the original 200,000 mile O-ring. And let's see if we can see here. It won't focus, but these things are like dead flat. And it also takes a black sealant from Toyota in between the pump, which you can see pushing out here. When I put this pump on the first time, when the motor was out of the car, I only put all of these small 12mm bolts all the way around, including these ones over here. Well, around the two main oil ports, you have this big 14 millimeter and this big 14 millimeter. So when I sealed it the first time, I know for a fact that I did not tighten the two larger 14 millimeter bolts because they go through the AC compressor. So when I did the motor out of the car, I didn't even put those bolts in. So the RTV may have been compromised when it's set up, as well as when I got the car back together. I also know for a fact that when I put the AC compressor bolts in, I did not tighten them all the way, because a friend of mine actually was looking at the car one day and he goes, hey, those AC bolts aren't tight. And I drove it for about 1,000 miles like that, so it probably pushed them out, or pushed the sealant out and compromised the seal. Hopefully this time, when I bolted it all back together, I got those bolts nice and tight. I put the two 14s in for everything to set up. I do have to take them back out still to put the AC compressor back on, but I'm gonna make sure everything's tight this time. So I also got from a buddy of mine, Pips Parts, goes by Mike Pippin, big super guy. I got this brand new GTE upper pan. I got a full kit actually. Got the lower pan, the dipstick tube, the pickup tube. I got all that stuff new because again, I just don't want to roll the dice on this deal. And by putting all this new stuff on here, I feel a lot more comfortable getting it in. I am gonna clean the mating surface and throw this pan on now, just the upper, so it can seal with no other issues. But I wanted to make sure that that was set up. I'm not, like I said, I'm not rolling the dice on this deal since we're doing drag week. Well, fellers, I am pretty much sealed up now. I did get that upper pan on last night, threw on this lower pan this morning. This one's a little bit different. I just noticed that being this is a turbo pan, I noticed they got like kind of a sump here, which is kind of neat. Plus I panicked because I thought I was gonna have to drill out this turbo feed because the non-turbo oil pans don't have that, and it was pre-drilled, everything lined up. Drain lines hooked back up. I got the new pump, new front seal. Pretty much everything is done. It's nice and clean. The only thing that I do not have in yet, oh, go figure. The only thing I do not have in yet is this low oil level sensor, which I don't use anymore. The only other thing I'm struggling with at the moment is my PHR crank sensor. This Allen I cannot get out. I have the right size key for it. It is very tight. I'm gonna take this old pump to work with me, try to get that out so I can get it back in this pump. And the only thing left after that is pretty much just putting this whole thing back together. I would like to bring home my pressure washer, this back in, and this thing is completely caked. Not only with the oil that has been leaking, 200,000 miles of just road grime. I was gonna try to pick up another rack. I have another one here that has solid bushings in it, so I may at least just swap those solid bushings out. So another thing that I kind of want to do with this car before drag week is maybe try to get a roll bar in it. Right now, I'm limited to, from what I'm understanding in the rules, running 11.0s. The car has been faster. It's been 1040 or 1060 with a really, really bad 60 foot. If I can get the 60 foot dialed in, I'm allowed to run up to 10.0 in the class for drag week. And I know it's only a second difference between 11.0 and 10.0, but I kind of want to run the car pretty hard. I'm not doing this to take it easy. I mean, I could put the car on wastegate and run 12s all week if I wanted to, and never going to break anything, but where's the fun in that? So I did message Jason at 1320, but I know it is very last minute. He's a very busy guy. He's very good at what he does. I could do it myself, but I also have a whole bunch of work going on at the shop, so I don't know if I'm gonna have time to put one in. But if it comes down to it, I might order a kit today after talking to Jason and seeing what he says, and wind up putting it in myself. It's only an 8-point, so it should probably only take me a night to do it if I just pull an all-nighter at my shop, get the interior out. I will put swing outs in it. I kind of never really wanted to cage this car, you know, because I take the kids in it, my daughter loves it. I don't want to like ruin the interior. So if I do, I'm gonna put swing outs in it. After drag week, I will probably make the harness bar removable. I know it's not legal to do that, but if I can get the harness bar out of the car, I can easily get my son and daughter's seats in and out of the back and, you know, have nothing in the way. This morning kicked my ass, but the past couple days I got pretty much everything back together here. I do have the motor back together. Got all this front stuff back on, new oil pump, new oil pan, all new sealant on the oil pressure sensor itself. Pretty much every orifice possible on this motor has been resealed. I'm really hoping that there's no oil leaks this time. I have a billet PHR 36.2 trigger wheel on this thing, and the timing mark on it is very hard to read. There's a dot that I thought was top dead center, even though I've done this 1,000 times. Lined everything up, put the balancer on, and realized that it was wrong. So I had to take everything back apart this morning, put that in the right spot. But it is completely full of oil right now. All the front stuff's buttoned up, everything oil-wise is buttoned up. But I have to get ready to go to work, so I'm gonna hook the battery up and at least start this thing up and make sure it still sounds good, no crazy noises. Because if it doesn't, I am not going to drag week. So let me get this door open and figure out what it sounds like. Well, it runs per usual. Always forget one thing, right? I'm pretty upset because I cleaned everything under the car and it was all spotless to check for oil leaks. But 100% forgot to hook up the return line for the power steering pump. I know I hooked the feed line up, the high pressure side, because I had to find a copper ring for it because I lost one of them. So I know for a fact that that's hooked up and tight. But as soon as I looked under the car and saw all of this power steering fluid, quickly remembered that the return line is not hooked up. So I guess I'll clean that mess up, but I am done for the morning. I'm gonna throw some rags on that and deal with that after work today. Good morning. It's about 6 o'clock, maybe 5:45. Been out here for probably about an hour, hour and a half. Really wanted to get this thing wrapped up today. It's Monday. I'm planning to hopefully get the front end realigned tomorrow. I did put everything back exactly the way that it was, but obviously having the subframes out, if any of that stuff shifted around even a little bit, my alignment's not gonna be correct. Got the motor buttoned up. You guys saw the first start, had a bit of a power steering leak. I fixed that and got everything on the underhood side 99% buttoned up. The only thing I have not done yet is fill it with coolant and bleed it out, and that is because it is 5:45 in the morning and I'm not trying to piss my neighbors off. A couple other little odds and ends that I have to do. One of the last times that I worked on the car, the oil pressure deal got stuck somewhere and ripped the end off of it. I did hook up a new lead. I have a bunch of these Low Dollar Motorsports pre-pinned connectors, just got to fix that up. Like I said, put the coolant in it. Everything else, it is full of oil, the dipstick's secure, exhaust is back on the car. This thing is pretty much ready to test to see if I fixed the oil leak, which I really hope that I did. Either way, I'm gonna end this video off here because I want to put the dyno stuff in the next video. Yeah, it was kind of a straight through. It probably would have taken about 8 hours, but you know, working on it, you know, here and there every other morning for 45 minutes to an hour tends to drag on. So I'm just happy that the car is back together because we are running out of time in a hurry. I guess in the next video, probably in the beginning, I'll go over a list of things that damn, I did hit the garage door. Ain't that a bitch? I swear I can't have nothing nice. But like I said, on the next one, we're gonna go over a list of things that need to be done before drag week. It's not a huge list, but it is because I kind of really need to get my whole life together. Stupid stuff like wire the trailer brakes correctly, put a horn in the car because you're required to have a horn, make sure all my lights work, replace a tail light bulb that I know is out, and a couple other small things. But appreciate you guys sticking around on this one. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Like I always say, please like and subscribe if you love the content. I'm really trying to get back into it. The Nova is back at work, so we're gonna have a lot of content coming back on that too. So thanks for joining, guys.